So today's one of those days when you get mechanical problems, had to go to the wired headset, the remote wasn't working, and then there's a crap load of news. I mean, a crap load of news. This guy is not sleeping. He is keeping the pressure on these people 24/7. They don't even know how to keep up. And I can say that I feel sorry for them in that regard, because I can't even keep up with what this guy's doing. We watch a press conference this morning where Karoline Leavitt gets out there and just bish slaps these people into complete compliance. And they're screaming bloody murder. And that was just this morning. Now they had a whole bunch of other stuff. So earlier, if you guys remember, one of the questions I asked, and I posed it to you guys, was why are these people just focusing on this one piece of what she said? This one, little bitty order, it seemed like. And now we're finding out this is the Holy Grail. It's almost like Trump was throwing out stuff. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And today he threw something into the water, and I do mean all, of the shark's bit. He found out the Holy Grail. You were about to find out the Holy Grail of Democrats. The scam has been exposed. Everything you thought about these scumbags is about to be blown wide open. I mean, some of the stuff that I found today, I just can't tell you. It's just so much. So without further ado, let me show you some of the just complete insanity and how these people are breaking down, because Trump found out the money trail. He found out the golden goose. Cutting off this foreign aid and freezing certain things. These people are losing it. It's all about stealing your money. It's all about how far they can grab, how much they can grab, what pool, what budget they can grab it from, everything. And so I'm going to show you two quick pieces right here to just give you an underscoring, a little bit of a peek into the insanity that's going on right now.
Last night, President Trump plunged the country into chaos without a shred of warning. The Trump administration announced a halt to virtually all federal funds across the country. In an instant, Donald Trump has shut off billions, perhaps trillions of dollars that directly support states, cities, towns, schools, hospitals, small businesses, and most of all, American families. This is a dagger at the heart of the average American family in red states, in blue states, in cities, in suburbs.
No, Chuck, what you mean to say, it's a dagger at the heart of the Democrat Party. Everything that you guys have stood for decades just got exposed. You are absolutely losing it. You can't even fathom what the heck is going on. We now, as a people, the American people, we thought there was something there. We kind of really felt that these guys were stealing money. Now, you can see by their visceral, the reaction that they just want to throw up, that they just want to go nuts. And how deep this insanity goes, you just got to see this.
In rural areas, it is just outrageous. Funds for things like disaster assistance, local law enforcement, rural hospitals, aid to the elderly, food for people in need, all are on the chopping block in this new administration. Why? They need tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy, and these cuts, they think, will fund them. Every one of our offices has been deluged with calls from people who are in panic. What is this going to mean? What if I have a hospital that has people on life support?
And in order to try and get the full effect, they're lying to everybody about everything. Your phones have been deluged because of these funds being cut, and you're lying to people saying, hey, well, you're not going to be able to like get a little Auntie Sally get her surgery. You're lying. This is all about your money. This is all about your grift. And now you're freaking out because we're all seeing it. By the way, they make it sound like our entire nation is filled with nothing but people on the dole. I know many of you have fixed income, but there are so many more people who actually have to work for a living, who actually go out every single day and bust their ass providing for themselves and their families. Not in that order. Family first. And so he makes it seem like, we are a nation of broke-ass people. Everybody, everywhere just needs to, we just got to keep taking money and keep giving it away. But we're the ones who are going to do it for you, okay? We'll decide which programs. Wait till you hear about these programs. Wait till you hear about where some of the money has been going with these programs that they so dearly care about. And now Trump is basically coming in with a machete, a sickle, and saying, enough. You took shots at me? Now watch what happens. Funny. He thinks this is so bad. Wait till you start hearing where this money is going.
What are we going to do? And just like the January 6th pardons, this decision is lawless, dangerous, destructive, cruel. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. I spoke to my Attorney General this morning. She's head of the State Attorneys General Association. They're going to court right away on this horror. This, plain and simple, this is Project 2025. Project 2025 by another name. They knew how unpopular Project 2025 was, but the right-wing ideologues are still in control. So they had to do it in a different way, but it has the same consequences and will have the same horrible, negative, overwhelming reaction from the American people. And
the American people overwhelmingly voted for this. These idiot Democrats still don't understand what happened on November 5th. They keep talking like the American people are a bunch of loyal subjects who are stupid and are just ready to take your money. Because they are. They can't even understand. You got spanked in a landslide on November 5th. The things that you do, Chucky, have been repudiated. Nobody wants it. I won't say nobody. Most of the country doesn't want it. And so you got people like me and people like you who are sitting back and going, who are you talking about, Chucky? This is what we wanted. This is specifically why we put Donald Trump in office, to stop the BS. And all you have is continuing BS. You can't even make any sense except to talk to the Poe peoples and tell the Poe peoples, all the stuff that's happening. When people who really know, who have, the functioning frontal lobe, know you're full of crap.
who is going to be the implementer of this? None other than the chief cook and bottle washer of Project 2025, Russell Vought. Putting someone like Russell Vought at OMB, the architect of Project 2025, is a huge danger sign to America.
Not only does this administration's new policy put people at risk.
Yeah, they recycled this witch. They had the audacity. They had the unmitigated gall. They had the stupidity to take this witch out of mothballs and tell her, go do something, go sue Trump. Letitia flippin' James. So now she comes out there with her pontificating voice as though she's above you or above me, and she's going to tell you how she's going to take down Trump. Because they're leaving no stone unturned right now. This is the Holy Grail. This, for them, this is This is the beating heart of the Democrats. They have been exposed. Make sure you tell all your friends. You now know for a fact we have struck to the core of what bothers these people the most. The control of your dollars and my dollars without you having anything to say about it under the guise of helping the poor peoples. What an idiot.
Risk, but it is plainly unconstitutional. The president does not get to decide which laws to enforce and for whom. When Congress dedicates funding for a program, the president cannot pull that funding on a whim. Later today, I am leading and joining with my colleagues, my fellow Democratic attorney generals, in suing this administration to stop this illegal freeze of essential funds for our state. We will not stand for any illegal policy that puts essential services for millions of Americans at risk. And we work tirelessly overnight to ensure that that does not happen. Our lawsuit will seek a court order to immediately stop the enforcement of the OMB policy and to preserve essential funding for Americans.
So she's going to get it. Don't have any doubt right now. She is going to run to a favorable judge in New York, in that area, in Washington. She's going to get this injunction. And then Trump's going to go ahead and appeal it. And then they're going to go ahead and take it to the Supreme Court. And Trump is putting all of this on basically the desk of the Supreme Court. Challenge it all. Make them work for it. Make them scream. One of the problems they're going to have with trying to get this thing in an injunction is that in order to get an injunction, you have to prove that certain people are going to be harmed if this thing takes place. Which means everything that they've been saying on television is a lie. The law, or rather the executive order, specifically says accepting these groups of people, these programs. So they're lying in public. And if they put that stuff in a document and then get it to a court, it's going to get tossed out on its butt. They're lying. So how deep does the freak out go? Oh, it continues.
Сильна Україна. Вона повинна бути сильною для будь-якої дипломатії. Хочу ще раз це підкреслити.
Але США не лише потенційний посередник в переговорах. Це країна, яка надає величезні обсяги допомоги Україні і яка може спонукати нас до того, щоб ми сіли за стіл переговорів. Який меседж ви отримали від Дональда Трампа під час тих контактів, які у вас з ним були? Тобто як він каже? Він каже, я стану президентом і сідайте за стіл переговорів. Як це виглядає?
Я думаю, що він так не каже. Ми незалежна Україна, і мені здається, в час цієї війни наш народ, і я особисто в перемовинах зі Сполученими Штатами Америки і з Трампом, і з Байденом, і з іншими європейськими лідерами довели, що з нами риторика «сідай і слухай» не працюючи. І це не через те, що ми такі, а через те, що так ми повинні відноситись в принципі до будь-якої країни, будь-якого народу, будь-якого лідера. Поважати. Це, в принципі, рівність, одна з цих цінностей, за які ми боремося сьогодні.
The call went out worldwide. Hey, listen, you see what this guy's doing? He's cutting in all of our money. Oh my God, what do we do? How do we deal with this? Well, I've got so many things to show you. I'm just trying to, and Trump's just getting started. But let's talk about the BS that these guys were just saying on how this was going to affect so much of the programs that they're talking about. So you guys can check this one out. So Chuck Schumer says funding for law enforcement is now in danger thanks to Donald Trump. And the rapid response team, which was ready for this, they knew that these people were going to start this crap. And bam, they're ready. Here it is. It's a freeze on benefits to Americans like SNAP or student loans. No, any program that provides direct benefits to the Americans is explicitly excluded from the pause and exempted from this review process, in addition to Social Security and Medicare, blah, 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 blah. Next, Chucky. No, it has nothing to do with pausing programs. You're lying to people. You're absolutely going out there and lying because you're terrified. Funding for law enforcement is now in danger. What are we going to do? Nope, you're lying. You got caught. Let's see what the next thing they tried to do. See if I can find it here real quick because I've got so much in here to go with you. Chris Murphy. Let me find if I can. Oh, and by the way, this is funny. 1 second. I got to find. Oh, here we go. Chris Murphy. He decides Trump's government funding shutdown will shut down Medicaid, cancer research, elementary school. It's cataclysmic. He's going to kill all of you. You're all going to die. But together with the pardon of the rioters, the firing of the IGs, it's a brazen, transparent effort to seize power. Oh my God. Okay, rapid response team, stop lying. And they posted it again. See, that's what a rapid response team is supposed to do. What they didn't realize was what the rapid response team was going to do. Trump knew this was going to happen. So understand what you're seeing happen is they're playing right into his hands. Those of us who talked about the rapid response team yesterday, and when I showed it to you, I know there were some people going, what? Well, why do they need a rapid response team? Now you know. As soon as these idiots post this crap, bam, they get slapped down. I mean, it's almost instantaneously. What do you mean? Here we go again. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Hey, the Trump just shut off Medicaid. Nope. You're lying. Wrong as usual. I told you earlier today. This thing drives me crazy. I told you guys earlier today. These people have nowhere to go. Trump has told them with no uncertain terms, I don't have one F left to give. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. We're going forward. We're going to go straight ahead. You can sue all you want. We know what your modus operandi is. We know exactly what you're going to do before you even do it. And so now they're just sitting back and going, yeah, well, Trump's bad. And it's happening on so many fronts. You saw, we got George coming up here soon, but we on so many fronts. You saw Karoline Leavitt today absolutely destroy them. Showing firsthand, we don't give an F what you think. Listen to this exchange between Stephen Miller and Jake Tapper, because now Jake Tapper, he's freaking out about the immigration stuff. So
it was one of the reasons that President Trump got elected, according to President Trump in an interview, I think it was with Kristen Welker of NBC, was because of grocery prices. Not the only reason, but a reason, high prices, inflation, especially at the grocery. The Department of Agriculture says that between 2020 and 2022, 42% of crop workers were undocumented immigrants. And in many cases, as you know, these migrants do jobs many Americans do not want to do. So how does President Trump make sure that the effort to deport people who are not in this country legally doesn't end up hurting Americans who want safe borders, absolutely, but also don't want to see even more higher prices in groceries?
Now, before he answers that question, that again is one of those questions. How long has it been since you stopped beating your wife? It's impossible to answer because the premise is wrong. Every single one of us knew that immigration was the number one issue. And if we have to pay 50 cents more for eggs, which somehow these people must be in love with omelets. They keep talking about these eggs. Eggs. I don't care about the cost of eggs. Let's get these people out of here. I can do without the eggs. There's so many things but all they do is talk about eggs. And Stephen Miller is about to tell him, Jake, F off. I don't care what you have to say, Jake.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's not your position, Jake. You're just asking the question that we should supply America's food with exploitative illegal alien labor. I obviously don't think that's what you're implying. Only 1% of alien workers in the entire country work in agriculture. The top destination for illegal aliens are large cities like New York, like Los Angeles, and small industrial towns, of course, all across the heartland, as we've seen with the Biden floods. None of those illegal aliens are doing farm work. Those 30,000 illegal aliens that Joe Biden dumped into Springfield.
I'm talking about the ones that are.
But I'm explaining this to you.
Hey, my argument isn't working, so I'm going to have to redirect you to something else because you're kicking my butt here. I didn't know that stat, and the guys in my ears aren't telling me specifically, what to say. So can we just go back? Can we go back to what I was talking about? Because you're schooling me, and I'm not here to be schooled because I'm a talking head idiot on CNN.
It's important to understand.
No, you're kind of changing the subject. I mean, I'm talking about the ones.
I will give me 30 minutes. I'll go as deep as you want to this. I'm explaining to you and your audience.
I don't have a 30. I'm talking about the ones that work in the agriculture industry.
I'm
you can
explaining
come back
to you
and we
your
can talk
audience.
about the ones in the cities. I swear.
I'll do the whole answer. The illegal.
Not those newcomers. I'm talking about these newcomers. I don't care about those newcomers. This might be, other than November 5th and maybe January 20th, this might be the biggest news explosion in the last 20 years. Seriously. I know we had the jab back then, but they got completely caught off guard, and they've got no response whatsoever. None. Absolutely none.
Illegal aliens that Joe Biden brought into our country are not full stop doing farm work. They are not. The illegal aliens he brought in from Venezuela, from Haiti, from Nicaragua, they are not doing farm work. They are in our cities collecting welfare. As for the farmers, there is a guest worker program that President Trump supports. Over time as well, we will transition into automation, so we'll never have to have this conversation ever again. But there's no universe.
You know how you know when someone's losing? When they start fidgeting and looking around for other stuff. I told you earlier about how you negotiate at a table. That was submission. That was wave the white flag, get this guy off my show. I'm done. I just called 911. You just watched it happen on live TV.
In which this nation is going to allow the previous president to flood our nation with millions and millions of illegal aliens who just get to stay here. And we are especially not going to allow a subset of those illegal aliens to rape and murder our citizens. So we are going to unapologetically enforce our immigration laws. And as I'm sure you will celebrate, we are going to unleash the power and might of the U.S. government to eradicate the presence of transnational threats on our soil.
So,
lastly.
Poor Jakey. He came to a gunfight with a slingshot. He was done. What you've seen in the first 25 minutes here is just another indication of the end of the Democrat Party. Why is that, Barry? Because now you, all of you watching right now, are now going to leave this show at the end and start digging. And you're going to go, is what Barry just showed me, is that really what's happening? Because, trust me, what I'm about to show you next is going to blow you away. So I got to do this quick because if George is coming on, we're going to have to talk about some things, and if he doesn't make it, we'll just keep going. Either way, I got a ton of stuff. So, what else do I have for you at this point? This one here is, what did I just do? Hold on 1 second. I clicked the button and deleted the story, so I got to go find it real quick again on my other page. But talk amongst yourself. I'll be right there because here it is. I found it. Okay, so all this is going on as you're seeing, right? You see everybody screaming. Letitia James, Chuck Schumer, everybody screaming about money. What are we gonna do? Oh my gosh! And then Trump decides to drop this bomb. Buckle in. If you haven't seen this is going to blow you away. Now remember, this is happening on the heels of everything else happening that you've seen thus far. Breaking. Trump is offering a cash buyout, and I want you to pay attention to this, for all 2 million federal workers to resign. Let that sink in. Trump has said, all of you can leave, go home, go to Tahiti, I don't care. I will buy your salary out just so you get the F out of here. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get out of here. Remember, this is on the heels of everything else. So they're not even having time to react to, he cut the U.S. aid and he cut this aid and the foreign aid and everything else. Now he's like, I want to get rid of all of you. Each worker would get a severance package, including pay and benefits through September 30th. 5 to 10% are expected to quit. If so, $100 billion will be saved. This will be great in the long run. Trump administration offering, this is from CNBC, Trump administration offering buyouts to nearly all federal workers. Hey, where's Trump going to get the money? And how's he going to do this program and the other program? The guy's a businessman. You're all trash. You don't want to come back to work anyway. I don't know what you're doing. You never come into the office. Here's what we're going to do. We're just going to go ahead and pay you to go away. Now, here's what's going to happen with this. Let me just show you something, because here's what's going to happen with this. Press secretary, American taxpayers pay for the salaries of federal government employees and therefore deserve employees working on their behalf who actually show up to work in our wonderful federal buildings, also paid for by taxpayers. If they don't want to work in the office and contribute to making America great again, then they are free to choose a different line of work, and the Trump administration will provide a very generous payout of 8 months. So since you like to stay home, since you like not to work, how about I give you 8 months worth of salary? Now you have to understand where this is going. You got to think chess, 4D chess, as you always say. When it's time to fire these people and they go sue, remember, I offered you 8 months of free money. You could have taken it. Okay, so you can't cry poverty. Number one. Number two, and I was talking to SV about this. I go, here's what's going to happen. 5 to 10% of people will take this deal. It says on CNBC, 5 to 10% of these people. What you're going to end up seeing, because this is what they're estimating, 5 to 10 are expected to quit. If 5 to 10% of the federal workforce is expected to quit, then what Trump is going to be able to see are the good workers and the scum workers who are there just to gin up cause problems for him. You're not going to be able to hide. Because now, if you're functioning, I can see your performance. If you're still not functioning, I'm going to fire you. You tell me. Those of you who have owned businesses or managed business or done any sort of directorial position, how do you put out this many fires if you're the Democrats? Every single day, almost on the hour, it just keeps coming and coming and coming. He is laying waste to them. You can't fight all these fights. Now we know why at the press conference, when I said, and you guys heard me, I'm like, why are you guys only focusing on money? What's the problem? Why are you worried about this foreign aid? Because now he struck the heart of this. He struck at the heart. You guys can see it happening in real time. But it gets better. This one here, thank God, I'm going to have to be very careful as I read this, because the people here may not like me talking about it. I'm talking about YouTube. This one, like I said, so many different attacks from so many different fronts, and they can't possibly address them all. You're going to love this one if you're a Christian. Breaking, Trump signs executive order to ban transformer procedures for minors. Trump has signed a new executive order banning federal support for transformer medical treatments for children, calling them chemical and surgical mutilation. The order blocks funding for puberty blockers, hormone treatments, gender-related surgeries for minors. Trump slammed the practice as maiming and sterilizing impressionable children and vowed to end what he called the dangerous trend. The move is expected to trigger legal battles and state-level resistance. He knew that. He knew they would freak out when they heard that. Now you got to go fight over here. So I have a question for you. Forget the fights that they decided they were going to do yesterday or last week all these legal battles because they've been coming left and right, birthright citizens. There's so many things that they now have to fight. Now today, 3 or 4 more of them come up. You can't take the money. You can't do that. You can't stop it. Okay. And I'm stopping your money. How are you going to fund this? How are you going to fund all these lawsuits? Because remember, the money, if you looked at the flow chart, went to this NGO, went to this organization, the government was funding this umbrella of people who were attacking America. Your money was going to an organization that was going to be able to sue because of X, Y, and Z. They were taking government money, sending it to organizations, telling those organizations, we'll give you $100 million, $200, $300 million a year. And then if something happens, you guys sue the federal government. It's an ingenious web of scum. And now he said, I'm going to clip your nuts. If you don't have any money and nothing's outgoing, then you're not going to be able to fight all these legal battles. Unless these guys all want to work pro bono. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Like Mike Cernovich says here in this tweet. Trump tried tracking foreign aid in his first term, and everyone stonewalled him. They took their time. They played their stupid games. They did the usual bureaucratic stuff, but now they can't hide. He knows who's funding them. Whoever had this idea to cut off all aid is pure genius. Pure, utter genius. When you think about that, you think about how that happened, you have to at least now begin to acknowledge Trump had a war room somewhere. Don't know if it was at Mar-a-Lago, don't know where it was, but he had a war room somewhere, and they war gamed this entire scenario. Every single thing you're seeing happen right now, they knew when they're going to launch it, they know what the response is going to be, and they know how long it's going to take, and they know the players who are going to try and fight it. And you're watching it happen in real time because just last night, all of a sudden, this profile shows up on X, and it's a rapid response team. And you're like, what? Why did y'all need that? What did you need a rapid response? Oh, boom. Now we know. So they can go out and just slap these people as they post crap. There are people in another war room somewhere monitoring every one of these senators and what they're putting out there. Senators, congressmen. And as soon as literally, that stuff with AOC and Schumer and Chris Murphy, they responded within minutes. Bam. Liar. Brilliance. And so you guys were having your fun. You were suing him. You were trying to convict him. You were doing all this stuff. And somewhere in some undisclosed location with probably guys like Mark Levin and other constitutionalists, Alan Dershowitz maybe, somewhere there was a bunker where they were planning out every single aspect of this. You could not have done this beginning on January 20th. You could not have put all this together starting on November 6th after you won. This had to be in play. I want you to understand that. There is no way you would have come up with this and execute it and have a plan ready on November 6th. No, that's not enough time. When did they start this? How long has it been in play? Because you can see that Democrats aren't at all ready. Not only did they get shellacked in the election, they don't have anybody leading. Even Mark Elias is bouncing off the walls. James Carville bouncing off the walls. CNN, MSN, they got nothing. Nothing at all. And so when you see all this kind of stuff happen, and you know your enemy right now has nothing, that's also when your enemy is most dangerous. When they are so desperate at this point because they can't win. At this point, they must know I mean, you've coached, I've coached, I've played, and you're looking at the scoreboard, and you're looking at this team across from you, and they are kicking your butt. And you realize at this point your coach is outcoached, your team is outplayed. That's when you see fights break out on the field. That's when you see stupid things happen. That's what we're going to see as well, because right now, their only game plan is to get out in front of this or behind it and start ginning up the water by posting stuff on X so the nuts see it. Hey, it's going to take away Jimmy's, his school, and you're not going to be able to eat at school, which is a whole other problem. And they're going to take away your transformer surgeries. And all of this is just meant to give people an MK Ultra effect. They're basically calling upon their orcs. They're sending out the order to the orcs. Do something. Do something. Which I'm sure Trump knew that too as well. Barry, how do you know that? How do you know that that's one of the things that they have planned? Oh, let me show you. Let me click on this one here so you guys can see it. Oh, how about this? Breaking. Man arrested at the Capitol with Molotov cocktails wanting to unalive Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Why in the hell would you want to unalive Scott Bessent? He's a Treasury Secretary. He's gay. He plays on some of your team. What did he do? Probably because he was the most vulnerable. Probably somebody looked at this and said, this guy just got confirmed. He's not in a high profile situation. Maybe we could take him out. It's going to get crazy. You bring Molotov cocktails to the White House or Congress, the Capitol building. You brought Molotov. Wait a minute. You thought somewhere in your twisted head, you know what? I could probably put a whole bunch of Molotov cocktails in the trunk, and then I'll drive to the Capitol, where I have to park somewhere because I just can't park in front of the Capitol. It's not like Target. But I'm going to park there real quick, and if he happens to run out, I've got the Molotov cocktails in the car, and I can just start tossing them. Yeah, that'll work. And of course, he was easily caught. Desperation on a large scale. Let's look at some of what happened with Karoline Leavitt earlier today.
As we're dealing with anti-DEI, anti-woke efforts, we understand this administration is thinking about celebrating Black History Month. Have you got any word on that? Anything that you can offer to us?
As far as I know, this White House certainly still intends to celebrate, and we will continue to celebrate American history and the contributions that all Americans, regardless of race, religion, or creed, have made to our great country, and America is back. Just during...
Dismissed. Girlfriend, you were dismissed. This is about all Americans. All lives matter. April Ryan wasn't ready for that. April Ryan will probably be on Joy Reid's show tonight. The White House said, Black History Month. I know my history. I don't need to celebrate every single month. You guys have to have months of celebrations for things. Go ahead and do whatever you want. You can celebrate. Why does Trump have to? He's supposed to recognize. Recognize what? That you're black? She didn't say we weren't. She said we're going to celebrate all Americans. Deal with it.
This pause, Doge and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. Doge and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a...
Those of you who watched earlier, some people are like, what? Did she just say $35 million? $50 million to Gaza for condoms? Did she really just say that? Well, as much as that probably shook you, it shook a bunch of other people too, who wanted to look into this and say, this can't be correct. It can't possibly be right. So I want to show you something. Oh, where is it? Okay. This will make you pissed off. You may be wondering why Gaza would need $50 million worth of condoms. It's because they use the condoms as weapons to fly explosives into Israel, i.e., Biden was likely going to fund crazy stuff. And there you can probably see it, but the guy here is blowing up the condoms like balloons and tying stuff to them. This administration is sick. Okay, but you may say, Barry, libs of TikTok, we don't really think that libs of TikTok is a good source. What do you think about John Solomon? John Solomon says $15 million of a $100 million package approved by Biden to support the basic rights and freedoms of women under Taliban rule was spent distributing condoms in Afghanistan. So it's not the first time they've done it. They were going to send $50 million. That's a whole lot of condoms. They were sending $50 million to Gaza. They're sending $15 million to Afghanistan. I got a question. What in the hell is wrong with these guys in Afghanistan and Gaza where they can't, number one, get them themselves, and two, or keep it in your pants? $65 million of your money, of my money, was being shipped over to these countries under the guise of condom distribution. I want to know, I'd have to look, how many condoms can you buy for $65 million? And does Nancy have stock in Trojan or Magnum, whatever the different names of them are? How could you spend $65 million on condoms? I'll let you guys think about that. George is logging in right here, so I'm going to jump in and take a commercial here from Lear Capital, which obviously you now know you need to protect yourself and be ready, because the idiots are coming. These orcs are coming. As you know, President Trump has assembled the Avengers to make America great again. And of course, we're all excited and ready to see them get to work. But with everything we're seeing right now, don't take your eye off the ball. Things could get much worse before they get better. With the possibility of World War III still looming, and with the Democrats doing everything they can to impede Trump, you still need to keep your guard up and your money protected. Oh, and our national debt is still massively increasing. Don't get me wrong, I have high hopes for Trump's America, but I also have a family to look out for. You see, Trump and the Avengers have quite the uphill battle ahead. That's why I'm making sure I'm protected, and I'm recommending that you do the same. One way to be protected is by diversifying your portfolio. That's why on this channel I've been happy to partner with Lear Capital. As you know, I've been involved in real estate for quite some time, and although I dabbled in gold and silver, Kevin and his staff at Lear have helped to educate me even further, especially in regards to silver. Give Lear a call today and they'll show you how easy it is to move some of your savings or your retirement account into gold and silver. Gold and silver have been proven to hold value and protect wealth for the long term. Call Lear today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com to get your free gold and silver wealth protection guides. There's no obligation, just free information. Many of you have seen my interviews with Lear founder Kevin Demerit, and I can tell you this company is solid and likes to educate their customers. Just so you know, Lear has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and over $3 billion in trusted transactions, and is the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase. You don't pay unless you're 100% satisfied. So call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you call, don't forget to ask how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. So if you'd like to take advantage of this opportunity, please call my friends at Lear Capital at 800-601-5430 and tell them Barry sent you. All right, so I got a special guest coming on. Many of you may know him. Many of you may not know him. He goes by George, and this is his Twitter page, George, and it's Behezy Tweets. So I'm not going to assume that his name is George Behezy. He's going to have to tell us, but the Lord is good, and as you can see, a lot of the big boys follow him. He's even followed by Benny Johnson, and I'm sure a few others. So without further ado, let me bring on George. George, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Great. Yeah, I can hear you. So first thing first, because I never want to address somebody just by their first name. Is your last name Behezy?
We're going to go with that because that's the digital name.
All right.
Barry,
So
I'm paranoid to share my government details with everybody because the last time I did that, I think I got doxxed basically.
Really?
Somebody found my address and they sent me letters, and we know how these leftists, how weird they get. So
wow.
you want to avoid that.
Wow. So when you say government, did you work in a government or do you work in a government?
No, I mean my full government name, right?
So George, how did you grow your following? I mean, George has 580,000 followers. He's only joined since June of 2021. I know I share your content. Many other people share your content. How are you getting your content? You're getting scoops that, even some of the big name podcasters are sharing your stuff. How are you getting all this content?
Well, it takes a lot of intense focus, right? But that's the easy answer. But the truth is, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder how I got to that story first when it was such a big story. I mean, there was a story out of San Diego when a group of migrants, this was back before the election, a group of migrants tried to get on a school bus. And I wrote the story because I saw it from a local source and I wrote it up. And I used the word hijack because that's what I think a hijacking is. They tried to get on a bus that didn't belong to them and tried to force their way in. And that story went viral. Every single person on Earth was sharing it, including Elon and all these people. A few days after that story went viral, I got a phone call from USA Today, and they were like, "You're promoting misinformation. Your story got tens of millions of people to believe it was a hijacking. It wasn't a hijacking. They were just trying to get on the bus because they were tired and hungry." I'm just like, all right, whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I get updates from people that are connected to the stories, and they tell me what's going on. Sometimes Congress people will text me when they're about to introduce legislation or something like that. But it's all a mix.
Well, congratulations, because your stuff is fantastic. So I got to have one pressing question because it happened today. When are you applying for your seat in the press briefing room?
I just did that. Did that. So let's hope Karoline Leavitt, who, by the way, absolutely phenomenal. If you watched that and thought that was her first day, I don't know. She felt like a 10-year veteran who's been in that office for years. But it was her first day on the job, and she excelled. She explained things. She fact-checked them. She gave you a lot of content. You better start making some videos, man.
I mean, I used some of it today, and I think she's going to be she's going to have a lot of stuff for us to clip and talk about as we move forward. So the big news tonight that I was covering, and I'm sure, let me see if you put anything up about it. Yes. Okay, there's stuff about the cutting of the aid. And I'm going to put up so everybody can see. This is what George put up about OMB. President Trump's OMB nominee, Russ Vought, is a savage. Democrat senator asked him who won the 2020 election, and Vought did not sugarcoat his answer. I believe that the 2020 election was rigged. Confirm this man. He has steel, you know what. So with everything that has happened today, they're going to come after him. What do you think? Yeah. I mean, with him cutting off the funding and the foreign funding, where does this thing go, and how are they going to combat all of this insanity?
Yeah, well, we're already seeing a heavy pushback from these Democrat attorney generals. I think there's like 18 states that are filing lawsuits to halt these freezes. We need to keep sending foreign aid. We need to keep sending government grants, all that nonsense. So I think what's going to happen is the administration knew this was coming. Their lawyers are ready. The appeals for every stupid judge's decision are already written up. So eventually Russ will get confirmed. But I thought something else was crazier. I mean, beyond the 50 million that we were sending or going to send for what do we call those? And do we just say the word, or
I don't think condoms is a bad word. So I call
I can't believe it, man. I can't believe that's where my money is. That's where my money's going. My money is buying plastic for Arabs in Palestine. What's going on here, man? This is a horrible way to find out where my money's going. But beyond that, I thought a bombshell, an earth-shattering decision, was President Trump sending every government employee get out the jail card. He told all of them, hey, look, you can get out now, resign. We'll pay you for 8 months and you go find a job in the private sector.
Right.
Or maybe in 8 months we'll just fire you.
Right.
So he gave a lot of them just an easy way out, and apparently 100,000 to 200,000 of them will take the offer. So if they do that, that's the government, the swamp draining itself.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes. But I think that's what we elected him for.
You
$100 billion saved potentially from that.
You posted this, which is something I didn't even see today. Hold on, let me just align this better so everybody can see it. 1 second, hold on. Let me pan this over here, and then let me go ahead and crop this. Okay, so let me know if you can see the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Okay. I didn't even know. This was what, at 12 o'clock. I missed it. There was so much stuff going on. I completely missed this.
I don't blame you. There's too much good news out.
It's
so much good news.
President Trump fired Jennifer Abruzzo. This is the National Labor Relations Board. After he fired the chairman, he also fired Jennifer Abruzzo. Someone should tell Wilcox, who is the chairman, she didn't get fired for being a black woman. She got fired for being dumb. I covered Wilcox's firing earlier, and I'm like, when I read it might have even been your post, but when I read what she wrote, and she said, the first thing was, I'm a black woman and it's going to be bad that I got fired because basically I'm a black woman. And I'm like, well, what did you do at your job? Did you perform? Did you do anything? And I love what you said. You know, Jennifer, what's her name? Jennifer Abruzzo, she's white. So what's her excuse? so I'm so sick. And it's, you know, you're one of the few black people I can talk to. I haven't found many who are conservatives who I can bring on the show and stuff. What do you think about all this affirmative action DEI crap?
Well, first of all, when you said I was one of the first black people or the only black people you could talk to, I was thinking you lived in Wyoming or something. Yeah, I get it. I get what
I meant on the show, not. We had my daughter gets a different congressman and people on, but it's so few and far between that I can find, conservative. So no, I'm in South Florida. There's black people everywhere down here.
Yeah. So first of all, this idea that the National Labor Relations Board is this independent agency that the president has no jurisdiction over and can't fire anybody in there is so bizarre. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why it's believed that there are now 4 branches of government. There's 3. There's the executive, the judicial, and the legislative. President Trump, the president of the United States, has all the power to oversee the executive. So if he chooses to fire somebody for any reason, he doesn't have to tell Congress about it. He doesn't have to beg courts to allow him to fire people. It's just part of being president. The Constitution vests all power in the executive and the president. Secondly, on the whole DEI thing, DEI has led to an uptick in racism because when black people who are actually qualified get a job, like a high-end job, other people, rightfully so, are looking at it like, wait, are you a DEI hire? Because that's the practice of the time, right?
Right.
There's this new Red Lobster CEO who was CEO of PF Chang's before he became Red Lobster CEO. He's a really smart guy, Ivy League educated. I don't know if that's a good thing nowadays, but very smart. He took PF Chang's out of, potential bankruptcy during COVID to profitability. So he proved that he could do the job. And then he got hired by Red Lobster, which is a much bigger chain, much more national than PF Chang's.
Right.
And guess what? People were thinking he was a DEI hire because now he's black, right? He's a Nigerian black guy. And that's the racism DEI was supposed to end, but it actually ended up causing, because now everyone looks at anyone in a position of power that's black or brown and goes, are you supposed to be there? So DEI has caused racism. But guess what's going to happen now? All the wokies are getting fired out of the government, and we're going to replace them with people that are good at their jobs. And what that's going to do is force other people that want those jobs to get better themselves,
Right.
and end up making more money in the long run and living better lives. We're going to actually end up seeing a much more diverse administration than people imagine. You know what's funny? These DEI people, these propagandists that push this nonsense into society, what's funny about them is they are so selective about what to celebrate. President Trump appointed a black woman to the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, and I didn't hear any black liberals talking about how you go, sis. They didn't say anything about that. So it's a selective, it's a disgusting movement that has led to more division, that has led to more racism in every way. And now we're finally getting rid of it from the military. I mean, Pete Hegseth went in there. I drove past the Pentagon as he was getting sworn in, so that was pretty cool. But I could just feel there was less corruption in the air. So yeah, we're getting rid of this nonsense.
Great. I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, completely for it. I think you should be judged on your performance and your results. And at that point, we can just, I don't care. I said the other day, I think resumes and stuff shouldn't have a name, shouldn't have a picture, should just have a number and tell me what you've done and see if I can't figure out if you can fit in my company. And if not, that's all it needs. I don't need to see whether you're Hispanic, you're black, you're white, you're Native American. It just doesn't matter. And I think they've used it as a crutch for so many years. So let me segue into something here. I keep looking at some of the stuff that you posted, and it just cracks me up. And I see this one because I talked about it earlier. Imagine the
Oh, gosh.
Imagine the meltdowns we'll see when Alex Jones enters the White House briefing room to ask questions. So I was talking earlier, and I was telling people, there's probably going to be like a tiered level maybe of how they bring people in. And I would think, Alex Jones and the Joe Rogans of the world may come first, and then they'll, whittle their way down to people. I don't know. I know Mike Cernovich, he basically got shunned when he was in the White House a while back. What do you think would really happen if Alex Jones got front and center in front of Karoline Leavitt?
Well, I don't think it's going to be a who gets to be there first. I think it's just going to be scheduling, because she pointed to one of the front row seats that was usually reserved for press secretary, White House staff,
Right.
and said that's going to be the new media seat. And it's just right there up front. So literally giving us a seat at the table. That means if you decided you could apply as Barry Cunningham and,
Right.
Ask anyone to be your correspondent and go ask questions, and you can live stream the answer. And by the way, you're getting way more views than CNN, MSDNC, than all of these organizations anyway, so you deserve that. So I think it's going to be a thing where they just look at who's applying, look at the social media profiles. They're going to want to see that you're actively posting political content,
Right.
or just any content, and that you're a real person and all of those little things there. And then they're going to everyone now and then say, hey, you're invited, or hey, we have this opening, and then you kind of get to pick which day you want to come in. But this is one of the most important things. I was actually talking to President Trump's people about this when I was out in DC. I was saying, we can't spend 4 years having the president get shouted down by mainstream reporters. We can't do that. We already know their game. Their game is to lie, it's to twist things. They're already blaming him for the high price of eggs. He's been in office for 7 years.
A week.
How are egg prices his fault? Nothing is his fault until maybe 6 months from now. So we already know their game. So we can't play it. We can't allow them to have that same influence, the ability to control the press room. There's a lady by the name of Chanel Ryan, and she is on OAN, one of their biggest hosts.
Yes.
She had millions of viewers, and she was a White House correspondent. And guess what? Because they didn't like her, the White House Press Corps Association, whatever that is, it's a private organization that controls a public building, which is highly illegal. For some reason, that's acceptable. Chanel was kicked out of her seat, literally, by these commie reporters, and kicked out of the tents that they have, which are on government property. A private organization controlled by a bunch of liberal dweebs kicking out a conservative-minded reporter because they don't like her. And so this is like perfect revenge, for that. This is perfect retribution. This is a balancing of the scales. Those guys are irrelevant now, and people like you are more relevant. I bet you could, if you picked the topic, Barry, if you picked the topic and said, we're going to push this topic for the next 2 months, and every video you made was about that topic, you can actually move national attention further than any of the mainstream media legacy companies combined.
Thank you. And I kind of saw that today, and hopefully most of the people watching saw that today, is that we talked to, I don't know if you know her, Monica Page, who's with Turning Point, and she got to ask her first question today. And these people all get picked on, hey, you, and you. And what comes out of their mouths are so stupid. The questions that they ask don't involve or interest average, everyday people.
There was no common sense in going to the press secretary and asking her, hey, all these illegals you're arresting, what's the number of the amount of them that are actually criminals with prior criminal? They're all criminals. They broke the law to be here. That's the point. They broke the law. So what are they saying? So there's none of them make sense.
Yeah.
None of them ask questions that we care about. What they're doing is they're looking for gotcha moments to feed their deranged liberal viewers who think a shouting match between them and Karoline Leavitt is somehow, a rock star moment. That's what they were looking for.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for them, I think she's a seasoned pro in just dealing with stupidity. So you can just see how.
She just cut him off at the knees. I mean, I likened it to somebody looking at you and just saying, F you. I don't care what you have to, like what J.D. Vance did with Margaret Brennan. He just looked at her and goes, I don't care. And there's nothing for you to come back when you can't get somebody worked up because they're taking a firm stance on what they believe, which is different than what the liberals, they do it because it's virtue signaling. I don't believe most of them even care about some of the stuff that they talk about. They're paid robots. And so when you go up against somebody who actually feels about what they're talking about, there's no way you're going to shake Trump off of his pedestal in terms of how he feels about kids being maimed and abused. You're not going to shake J.D. Vance off of that. They believe it. And so, tonight, when I don't know if you've seen it, but he did an executive order where and I have to be careful here, the executive order is to stop transformer surgeries. Have you seen that yet?
Yeah. I heard a different kind of word for it, but Transformer is really good. You're good at YouTube code. I used to be good at YouTube code too, but now I'm on X and I can just say it.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. Exactly. I'm still in YouTube jail here, where you have to make sure
what's funny, Bear? What I think is hilarious is a Transformer organization filed the lawsuit. Which had 6 Transformers who are currently in the military as plaintiffs to overturn President Trump's ban on Transformers in the military. And they're asking a judge to overturn that and reinstate them as service members. I think it's just so crazy that a lot of people are losing focus about what the military is supposed to do. It's not this giant, big party where everyone's invited. No.
Right.
If you're disabled, you can't be on the front lines. No, you can't go back in. because the point of the military is to be lethal. If it were up to me, and Pete Hegs had already talked about this, but you wouldn't have chicks on the front lines. They can serve in office jobs in different roles, but as far as being on the front lines, that's not good, because first of all, if let's say a male infantryman got hurt, he would want someone his weight and his body strength carrying him to safety.
Exactly.
You can't have a 130-pound chick trying to carry a 200-pound, 6'2" dude from Ohio. That's not how it works. So the fact that a lot of people, I mean, these leftists just don't understand that the military is literally supposed to discriminate against people. They are supposed to discriminate. If they look at you and go, "You're too short," you're not supposed to join. It's not, "Oh, you know, I want to join," and then they let you in. No, this isn't preschool. This isn't an activity you do. This is life or death, right, for the country. And the commander-in-chief has absolute power and authority vested in him by the Constitution to decide who gets to serve. That's part of being commander-in-chief, getting to pick your troops.
What the funniest thing about that is when you can ask one question and it shatters their worldview. And that one question is, when do you get your uniform from the Boston Celtics? Because I don't care what sex you are, I don't care what color you are, I don't care who you think you are. If you can't run up and down the court and dunk a basketball, you're not getting out there. It doesn't matter. The women in the WNBA are not going to be playing in the NBA. It's never going to happen, and vice versa. But
perfect analogy.
Yeah, it shuts them down. It's like, okay, when are you going to defend LeBron? Huh? Yeah, you're saying that anybody can do it. You can't do it. When are you going to go up there and try to cover, Tyreek Hill? I'm in Miami. You can't do it. There are certain physical characteristics that you have to have in place. Me being a former offensive lineman, I would annihilate smaller people, whether they were smaller guys, and if they happen to be a woman, good God. There has to be a line, and they won't take it. George was referring to this post that he put up earlier. Here we go. 6 Transformer military members just filed a lawsuit against President Trump and Pete Hegseth to overturn the ban on them serving in the military. This ban violates the equal protection component of the Fifth Amendment. The lawsuit seeks declaratory, preliminary, and permanent injunctive relief. And my thing with that, George, is what happens if you win. You see, if you win, what Pete can now do is say, okay, how about you go and stand a post here? Well, what do you mean? I just did this for a job. No. You said that you are now capable of doing the exact same thing. Let's see how long you last at the front lines of X, Y, or Z. And I don't think they understand what they're getting into. I don't think they really thought out what exactly it means if you win this lawsuit. Because by winning, you are going to lose, which means he can run you, he can do the other. It's a Pandora's box of problems. It's not just about playing cosplay and putting on makeup and stuff. It's actually doing it. And then you got to worry about other people in the military looking at you and wondering, I got to put my life in your hands? That's going to be scary. So what do you see happening with everything happening so fast on an ongoing basis? Every time we turn around, something else is happening. What do you see happening in the next 3-4 days, especially with these hearings coming up? Because I'm hearing some really bad stuff about what they're trying to do at Tulsi.
Yeah, Tulsi and RFK. I'm hearing that Lindsey Graham, the great lesbian senator from South Carolina, he looks like Ellen DeGeneres if she was on the spectrum or something. But Lindsey and Mitch McConnell apparently could vote against RFK Jr. If they do that, oh, Lord have mercy on them. Because the amount of posts I'm going to be putting on X, people are going to think my thumbs are going to fall out. Because these are the most important appointments.
Yeah.
Every appointment that got swept through the like 64 to 20 something. Yeah, those were expected, right? When you have a Treasury Secretary nominee, they're supposed to be good numbers guys. They're not really political positions. But when you have a campaign platform on making America great again and making America healthy again. And RFK Jr., the lead guy behind the Make America Healthy Again movement, does not get confirmed to be HHS secretary, there's going to be problems.
Yeah.
When you have Tulsi Gabbard, and one of President Trump's biggest promises was to reform and really gut the surveillance state,
Right.
which targeted him. And if she doesn't get confirmed to be director of national intelligence, there's going to be problems. Kash Patel, the lawfare, the weaponization of government, the raiding people's homes, raiding President Trump's home. If Kash Patel doesn't get confirmed to be FBI director, there's going to be problems. So these next 3 confirmations this week is going to be so crucial. And if these senators know what's good for them, because a lot of them are running for re-election.
Right.
The smart ones are saying, I don't know if I'll run. What they're doing is they're hoping by the time re-election gets here, people have forgotten what they did. But we're not going to forget. Because Barry's going to be reminding your voters of what you did and how you voted when it mattered.
Right.
Ultimately, I think Tulsi Gabbard is going to be a must confirm. And I don't know if people realize this, but President Trump's political capital is now at an all-time high because he's in the White House. He won the popular vote. So when he says something, these senators have to listen.
Yeah.
When he says, I want him confirmed, quick, fast, they're going to do it. Because he's the president. He has the bully pulpit. When he gets on a podium, everyone in the country cares. All the media cares what he
everyone
said.
in the world.
Everyone in the world, including Colombia, except Colombia, apparently, because they tried to play around like they didn't hear what he said when he said we were going to tariff countries that disobey us. Everyone heard what he said. Everyone hears what he says. So his bully pulpit is now much more influential than ever. This is why a lot more of those rhino senators are just voting to confirm, because they know people like Tom Tillis, they're up for re-election in 2 years. They know Trump's popularity is at an all-time high. That's why John Fetterman, super fake, he's just doing all this for show. That's why he's kind of coming on board like, oh, I'll vote for some of your nominees. Because he knows Pennsylvania is now going to be a redder state than when he won, or quote-unquote won. So we'll see what happens, but I think they're all going to get confirmed because President Trump's going to expend a lot of political capital making sure of that. And he promised RFK Jr. that he was going to get him in. He was going to give him a mandate to go make America healthy again.
Well, I'll be looking to see everything that you post about it. Are you going to do a running commentary? What are you doing tomorrow, or actually the next 3 days?
Yeah, I'm going to be covering those hearings on X and just posting tweets, posting my opinions, my thoughts, and doing everything I can to expose any senators that are supposedly having second thoughts. I thought or everyone on X did a pretty good job at applying a lot of pressure on Joni Ernst from Iowa.
Yeah.
I don't think she was ever going to vote for Pete Hegseth if she didn't get that level of pressure. And again, re-election's looming. So in her heart, she's like, well, I know I don't like him, but if I want to get re-elected, I gotta play ball a little bit here. I gotta just vote yes, even with my eyes closed and holding my nose, that sort of thing. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Before you go, what are you hearing about Pam Bondi? Seems like they pushed her into tomorrow, right? Aren't they going to do some sort of a committee vote tomorrow?
Yeah, with Bondi, it's really it's no doubt she's going to get confirmed. She might even get some Democrat votes because ultimately these Democrat senators understand that these guys are going to become nominees, and if you don't hate them and they don't have a political agenda against them individually, they would just vote to confirm them. It's like Marco Rubio. Even though they know they're going to disagree with Marco Rubio's foreign policy because he's going to be at President Trump's direction, Democrats are still going to all vote for him because they know him. And it's like, the Senate's job is just to advise and consent.
Yep. That's
meaning they're not supposed to whine and complain. That's not the constitutional role of the Senate when it comes to these nominations. Their job is to just get the president's list and say, oh, we don't like this guy. We think he could be better on this position. and then consent, like say yes, or in very rare circumstances say no. But even if they say no, the Constitution gives so many ways for the president to still control those agencies. He can appoint acting directors and acting secretaries. He can appoint, use these recess appointments, which is in the Constitution. If the Senate goes into recess, he can just sign an order putting that person in their full capacity in that agency for 18 months. So the Senate is just completely in dereliction of duty when it comes to this confirmation stuff, and they need to get back in line.
Yeah. I mean, it's turned into political theater at this point. And everything they did with Pete and anonymous sources, not a single one of these supposed women came forward, and even the ex-wife said it's not true, but it didn't stop them from just doing the political theater and trying to trash somebody. The same thing they did with Kavanaugh. I mean, it's insane. George, thank you for taking the time out tonight. I'm sure you're going to get some new followers. You guys go ahead and follow George at BahiziTweets.com. He's like I said, a preeminent source of information. So go ahead and follow him. George, thank you for taking the time, and I'll be checking out your content as well. And Ashley will probably get you back, maybe after one of these hearings or so. Thanks, man.
I appreciate you for having me on. It was fun.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right, bye-bye. So everybody, that was, again, George Bahizi, Bahizi Tweets. Excuse me. You can get to him right there, George at Bahizi Tweets, and follow him. He's got some amazing content and amazing sources. So thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed that. George is, like I said, I've never met him personally, but I have used George as a source, and all of his, I haven't had one problem with any of the information he puts out being not true or end up not being true. So I fully underscore he's worth so. In fact, something he put out that I hadn't even seen. This one here. This was 4 hours ago. Trump says, congratulations to Tennessee legislators who are working hard to pass school choice this week, which I totally support. We will very soon be sending education back to the states where it belongs. It's our goal to bring education in the United States to the highest level, one that has never attained before. Make America great again. And President Trump quoted, we'll soon, it's the same thing. Everything. A lot of the holdup has to do with the Senate's slow-walking cabinet confirmations. So that's another big thing. This stuff is in the works. It is going to happen. That is going to be another fight when he takes the money from the Department of Education and gives it to the states. Let the states control all of this. Don't need the federal government involved. So right now, the Democrats know there's another fight looming. It's sitting right there. It's waiting for you. As soon as he writes the order and gets his people in place, boom, Department of Education, done. They are going to be in a constant battle. If he cuts off the funds like you've seen, they got problems. It's been a while, so let me see if I can't take some of your comments here. People need to be responsible and buy their own birth control. Yeah, exactly. Barry, can you educate me real quick on the resets appointment? Why Trump needs to get approval for it, not up to speed on that. So he doesn't need to get approval for that. Doing the resets appointments is basically a nuclear solution. It's doing something that's normally not done. It's not within the tradition, the confines of how things are supposed to run. But that's not saying he won't use it. Whether it's John Thune or Michael Johnson, somebody has said, we'll get them there. We'll get them there. Just relax. We'll get them in. And Trump's like, okay, show me. Okay, Scott Bessent, he's in. Sean, he's in. As Sean, what's his name? Department, the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, he's in. Rubio's in. Hegseth, you got him. You got him in. But these three this week, Kennedy, Tulsi, and Kash Patel, are going to test the strength of these senators, well, not senators, Mike Johnson and John Thune, to usher this into port. If they don't, if for some reason they try to take down Tulsi Gabbard, if they're successful in taking down Tulsi Gabbard, it would not surprise me one bit if Monday, no, because tomorrow's a hearing, so they won't have the vote probably until Monday or Tuesday. Well, so then Wednesday, don't be surprised if they're like, we're in a recess, we're done, boom, and he puts her in. They know this as well. The Democrats know, and at this point, they've got to be thinking to themselves, as you've seen tonight, they've got to be thinking to themselves, we can't fight everything. We are not in a position to fight everything this guy does. And I don't care if you wave the white flag for Bissett. I don't care if you wave the white flag for Sean Duffy. Those were no-brainers. Those aren't the big ones. They're sinking their heels in on Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, and RFK Jr. Even Pam Bondi is probably going to get confirmed. Those three coming up this week are the three ones that, if the Democrats are going to put up resistance, this is where we're going to see it. And when I say put up resistance, it's not the Democrats. Right now, the Senate is 53 to 47. The Democrats can't do anything. I want to make sure you understand that at this point. The Democrats can try and delay, they can try and obfuscate, but they can't do anything in regards to the vote. The numbers simply aren't there. The only people who are going to hurt Trump and these cabinet picks, unbelievably, are Republicans. That's the only way these guys don't get confirmed. The Democrats, they're just sitting there. They're hoping they can convince a couple Republicans to be turncoats. They're hoping that there's a couple Republicans like, what's her name? Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Mitch McConnell. You lose those three, you're at 50-50. Then you only need to lose one more. And from what we understand, those three may not vote for Kennedy, they may not vote for Tulsi, and they may not vote for Kash Patel, which means every single one of these is going to be 50-50. And Lindsay, who George affectionately called Lesbian Lindsay, is talking about how he's not going to vote for Tulsi. That fourth one, that'd be it. She'd be done. So, Sean Hannity, get off your ass. Talk to your boy Lindsay, who you have on television all the time. Trump, you got to get down to South Carolina or Washington, come across Capitol Hill, tell little Lindsay, get in your office. Now is the time that Lindsey Graham needs to understand, we'll take you out, bro. We'll make sure that you are not the next senator. You're not going to get another term as senator in South Carolina. In addition to that, you want to get real dirty? In addition to that, I don't know what Lindsay's got in the closet, but I'm pretty sure some people do know what Lindsay's got in the closet. Someone needs to go tap Lindsay on the shoulder. Hey, Lindsay, you see all this? Like, remember, Trump said he sent the Ayatollah guy a picture of his house and kids. Somebody needs to talk to Lindsay. Just say, hey, Lindsay, is this you? This you, bro? Oh, swipe. Keep swiping, Lindsay. Someone needs to let Lindsay know your gig is up. You are not going to be that powerhouse you think you were. You're not going to be John McCain. There's no way this Republican Party and this president should let Lindsey Graham turn into John McCain. Yeah, if they stand in the way, they will not be reelected. But in the meantime, you know, yeah, nasty skeletons. Oh, we know. Oh, we know. Goodness, Lindsay is the worst rhino. Yep, he's a. You guys know. Yeah, have they paid off the harassment suits and all this stuff? Yeah. There's. I hear it's pretty small. And there's not a war that Lindsay doesn't like. Carol Garber says, I think Lindsay visited Gilligan's Island too. It's amazing. Like George laughed. He goes, like, yeah, we all got code. That's code. You know what code that means. So I hope that answered your question, excuse me, about the recess appointments and why they'd be needed. All right, so what do I have to cover here? Okay. Talking again about the funding freeze. You know, about the $65 million for condoms. Come on, people. Come on. This is arguably, and who is Nate? Nate is the Executive Director of America 2100. Okay. This is arguably the single most important aspect of Trump's funding freeze. The immigration crisis isn't an accident. It's well-oiled system facilitated, as I said earlier, by powerful NGOs funded by your money. Money comes in from your pocket, it goes into NGOs, and then the NGOs spend it where they want, including on lawfare. U.S. refugee group funding suspended under Trump aid pause. Next thing here's what just happened. Last week, can you see that? Okay, here's just what happened. Last week, President Trump signed an executive order suspending refugee admissions into the U.S. Then the State Department went a step further. They issued a stop work order to their NGO partners, suspending all funding for resettlement. Next, the NGOs were beside themselves, completely freaked out. No money. No money means no resettlement. And for good reason, very few of these groups are self-sufficient. Most of them are sustained by your money. They have no ability to be functional without your money. The immigration crisis is being financed by your government with your money, and hence the outrageous statements. Everybody here from the WEF and all these different places, and then of course the Pope, there's a reason why. No money. If there's no money, then this grift goes away. Trump knew that. Trump saw it. He understands what's going on. To be clear, these NGOs exist to subvert U.S. law at every step of the process, actively transporting people into the country, fighting enforcement efforts at the border, resettling people in American towns and cities, and lobbying for policies in D.C. How do you lobby for policies? Oh, that money that came out of your pocket that went to that NGO, if you want to, be like John Madden with the telestrator, which I don't have a telestrator right now, but right now you can look and say, okay, this is you. That's you. Oh, you can't see. It's too bright. But anyway, your money that you pay to the government, it's directed to these NGOs. These NGOs then pay for bus tickets and food and hotels and you name it to get these people in, who then take more of your money for food and everything else. It's one big royal scam. You've been looking at things from you've been victim of the grand illusion. Putting two really good albums together right there, in case you don't know where that came from. Maybe that'll be a trivia question for tonight's hoodie giveaway. But then again, I beg, let me just keep going. And again, they've been doing it on your dime for the past 4 years. The Biden State Department has been mainlining taxpayer funds to groups that run an end-to-end mass network, beginning deep in South America and finishing with resettlement in American communities. And that's how it is. Biden admin sends millions to religious nonprofits facilitating mass illegal migration. When he says millions, or that article, they're talking hundreds of millions. So that all goes away. They provide, quote, humanitarian transportation to ferry people up to our border. You ever thought these people ain't walking from Venezuela? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of water between Venezuela and Mexico. A whole lot of water. Spanish language maps showing the best route and legal services for them to get here to beat the laws once they are here. And they're taught what to say, what to do, how to do it, who to talk to. Oh, look at that one picture on the bottom there. Yeah, Catholic Charities USA. the Catholic Church is involved in all of this. Why? Oh, and money. They just give them cash cards, vouchers, and often even just stacks of cash in envelopes. Tough to think of a more direct one-to-one redistribution. You pay taxes, your government sends the money to the NGOs hand it to the newcomers, you work, they benefit. And somewhere in one of those envelopes must be a whole bunch of condoms. Because, they need them. Continue. 10 of these major NGOs, known as VOLOGs, voluntary agencies, have contracts with the State Department's Bureau of Population, Refugees, and Migration, which provide them with funding to resettle migrants in the U.S. These are the 10 VOLOGs in question: the Church World Service, Episcopal Migration Ministries, Ethiopian Community Development Council, HIAS, the global Jewish nonprofit, International Rescue Committee, Lutherans, hey, there's no denomination untouched here, folks, Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service, U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrations, United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, World Relief, Bethany Christian Services. Are you seeing this picture now? You seeing this picture of you on April 15th going like this? And the guys collecting your money going like this? And then they give it to all these people. And so as Trump is floating out stuff like no income tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. You know what? How about no taxes at all? How about we just do it with, tariffs? We don't need to have income taxes. Oh, how are we going to pay these people? What people? How are we going to pay these NGOs? We're not. I'm cutting it off. And you saw, and you're going to continue to see, don't even turn on the liberal media. Don't even do it. Don't do it to yourself. Ah! Yeah, it's screaming time. It's absolute screaming time. Let's continue. Most of these groups are only able to operate because of the federal government. Take the USCCB. In 2023, they received $129 million in federal grants. They spent $130 on migration services. Their immigration activities are almost 100% taxpayer funded. And you didn't even get a thank you note, did you? Probably not. Or take the Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service, which, unlike the USCCB, as an overall organization, is exclusively focused on bringing newcomers in. In fiscal year 2023, 96% of their revenue came from the federal government, to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. Or take the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, a group that we made an entire video about last year. Biden DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas served on their board until taking a job. Surprise, surprise. After he took office, their funding skyrocketed. You can see the graph. Boom. More money, more money, more money. If you're looking for the villain at the center of the immigration crisis, it's these guys. The refugee NGOs are a fifth column of American politics, and they're essentially been acting as an extension of the federal government, but not anymore. This is a big win, what Trump did today. That's why they're screaming. All of this is verifiable. The problem is most people didn't know to look, don't know where to look, and probably can't believe what they'd be seeing. They'd be... Just think, before today, before Karoline Leavitt said it in Today, could you have imagined that our government was sending $65 million of your money to some countries for condoms? If that doesn't make you scream, I don't know what will. They're just willy-nilly just taking your money, and Trump's like, we're done. That's it. You're cut off. All of these agencies, hundreds of them, if not thousands of them, with their pockets in deep recesses of different countries, have been getting your money and your condoms to do damage to you. Your government was paying companies to bring in these people intentionally, which I've been telling you all along, intentionally, to make you poorer and less safe. You can check out my deep dive thread on mass deportations from earlier this month. So, now you know. Now you know. You should have known, but now you do. It's absolutely crazy. So now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about. Wait, hold on. This one here. The sheer level of panic we're seeing from the left means that whoever thought this up was 100% on target. Someone in Trump's orbit said, I have a plan. I know how we can make this entire bubble collapse. Like, hey, talk to me. We stop the funding. Can we do that? Sure. They'll sue us, and when they sue us, we do this. Oh, okay. I'm telling you, they game planned the entire thing. This was not something they came up with last week. Hey, what can we do? No. This was brilliance. And so, of course, their only response is 23 states, all Democrats, have filed lawsuits seeking to block the federal aid freeze from taking effect. The lawsuit asks for a temporary restraining order, calling Trump's move arbitrary and capricious. They'll get it. Because they're going to run to, I don't know, the judge in Maui or a judge in Colorado. They'll find a judge who will sign it, understand, and then the more they sign, the more they do this stuff, the deeper you begin to know what's going on. Now everybody knows. You saw basically like Alien. The thing came out of the person's stomach and it's screaming. And it's screaming bloody murder because you cut off its money. You cut off. Trump went right for the throat. He went for it. Everybody tonight watching, he's not done. We don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know from moment to moment what he's going to post next. Best part about it is they don't either. It just keeps coming. And they can't stop him, it seems. Now, what are we seeing here? So now he's got, he did just post something. He's got Panama on the run. Let me just cut to this real quick because, oh my goodness, he just keeps going. All right, so he posted this an hour ago. Panama is with great speed attempting to take down the 64% of signs which were written in Chinese. They are all over the zone because China controls the Panama Canal. Panama is not going to get away with this. Understand what you just read. He knows that Panama is rushing to paint over and get rid of the China signs. How does he know that? Means he's watching. See, by the time he announces and starts talking about it, they've already done their homework. They already know what to look for. Watch. Okay, I'm going to drop the order. Watch what happens here. Send. And the roaches run. Everything is calculated. Every single thing. He's already looking. He's already got people watching these people in Panama. I just wonder at this point how much longer all of this can go. Because it's an effort in futility. He's posting a chart that resembles that big beautiful chart. Check out this chart. This chart here shows the number of daily encounters of the newcomers without repatriations and returns to Mexico. And you see that giant drop. It literally drops off a cliff. Guess what day that was? That's January 21st. Up here, that's the day he got inaugurated. And down here is the next day. Boom. Boom. Down here. A 93% drop since Trump took office. President Trump's first 7 days averaged 148 from 2,100 per day. It's happening. The reason why I'm going in depth with all this stuff like this is to let you know you're going to hear bloody murder screaming tomorrow and Thursday and Friday. I saw Caroline Kennedy, John F. Kennedy Jr.'s sister, out there screaming about how, our RFK is the worst thing in the world. He's basically like a terrorist. She says he's a fraud. Your own family, man. That's how bad it is. They got your own family acting like this. It's crazy. And it's only going to get worse. Check this out.
Preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on, being good stewards of tax dollars.
Until they arrive in the United States and clear the Customs and Border Patrol inspection process. And the seals are key to that security process. Members of this scheme in the United States and China evaded this security system by learning in advance the unique serial numbers assigned to these seals that would be associated with their illegal shipments. And they created duplicate fake seals in order to circumvent the inspection process. They would create those duplicate fake seals in China, and they would send them from China to their criminal partners here in the United States. When the shipments arrived at the port here in Long Beach and Los Angeles, U.S. Customs and Border Protection would direct, as part of their normal process, that some of those containers go to secondary inspection. Those secondary inspection sites are a short distance from the port. Instead of taking the containers from the port to those secondary inspection sites, members of the scheme, including the corrupt truck drivers, would instead take the contraband shipments to off-site warehouses. At those warehouses, according to the indictment, members of the conspiracy would open up and cut those seals, take out the contraband contained in those shipping containers, and ultimately put a new counterfeit seal on the containers and then pass them to CBP for inspection.
What he just said there, he just described a conspiracy of what these people were doing, the Chinese, that they were able to follow because since Trump's been in office, they're actually looking. And I'm like, why didn't this go on before? Why didn't Mayorkas look? They didn't even look. They didn't even pay attention to these things. They just look the other way. And now you've got Kristi Noem who's running this stuff and different other people working with her who are actually paying attention. Oh, we see what they're doing now. They just changed the seal, put the seal back on, pretended like nothing was, they got caught.
Members of the scheme would then have the containers, now smuggled with the illegal goods, inspected by CBP, and they presented them just like they had come straight from the port complex. The truck drivers involved in the scheme were often paid 10 times the normal rate, and sometimes much more, to illegally transport the containers to a warehouse before inspection. During the investigation, law enforcement identified that Chinese co-conspirators were sending these seals into the United States, these counterfeit seals, and they were able to intercept around 50 counterfeit seals. Law enforcement then linked those counterfeit seals to inbound shipments, intercepted those shipments, and removed the contraband inside.
So you're hearing him describe a orchestrated, covert action where they were watching what was going on. Some, obviously they had some informants, obviously they had people on the inside who were telling them, hey, this is what's going on. Well then, why didn't Mayorkas and Biden do anything about it? They just let it go. They just ignored it. So you're telling me now, because people are looking, things are happening. Should make you feel good. People are paying attention. Not just in immigration, but in bad product as well. It's happening all over.
Items of contraband include chemicals, such as R-22, tens of millions of dollars in counterfeit merchandise, unapproved food and other types of drugs that pose consumer risk. During this investigation into this smuggling, federal authorities seized roughly $130 million worth of contraband. And we conservatively estimate that the defendants who are charged here and their criminal partners in China smuggled more than $200 million worth of goods into the United States.
And all it took was somebody to pay attention. Which means there were certain people involved in all of this. I'm not going to point any fingers because I can't, because they'd get mad if they would call me conspiratorial. Barry, you're making stuff up. It's disinformation. So I'm not going to point any fingers and name any names. But at this point, you're intelligent. This is an ongoing operation of hundreds of millions of dollars flowing through this country through a port in Miami. And you're saying nobody knew what was going on and how often they did it. I was born, but I wasn't born yesterday. And I bet you didn't even hear about this, did you? These next two stories, you probably didn't hear about these on the news.
We have charged the defendants here with serious federal crimes. That includes smuggling, taking off using counterfeit seals, and conspiracy. If convicted, they face substantial federal prison sentences. The 7 smuggling charges contain a penalty of...
Coral Gables police confirmed with us that they...
So, that was the contraband part. Now this story here, right, it hits home. This is in Coral Gables, Florida. Coral Gables is a really ritzy area. I would call it, if you're looking at a map, it's southwest Miami, right near the campus of the University of Miami, right where the Hurricanes, go to school. Right there. Nice area. I mean, beautiful area. Coral Gables is not a place you would think you would see this activity. Matter of fact, if police cars started showing up in Coral Gables, people are like, what the hell's going on? Somebody's house get broken into? Domestic? What the hell's going on? And then when a raid shows up, you're like, oh hell no, something happened in here. It's that kind of neighborhood. I want to make sure you guys understood this. Listen to this.
We have detained 26 Chinese migrants and 2 smugglers in a apparent smuggling operation that happened right here in South Florida earlier this morning. Now, police tell us that around 8 o'clock this morning, they received a 911 call about 2 possible vans transporting migrants. Police responded and were able to stop the vehicles along Old Cutler Road. And that's when they discovered the 26 Chinese migrants.
Okay, they got a phone call, huh? Yeah, they got a phone call that said, hey, listen, y'all need to understand what's happening. I know you're paying me to give you information, so here's what's going on. These guys are coming through Coral Gables in 2 white vans full of people.
And 2 smugglers. Now, 7 Skyforce video shows a group of people gathered under a tree and then being loaded up onto a trolley. Now, hours later, the migrants, one by one, were then patted down and loaded onto Customs and Border Patrol vans and then taken away to an undisclosed location. All of this happening this morning, just a few weeks after another alleged migrant smuggling operation was discovered not far from where we are today.
Very heavy police presence in Coral Gables. Specifically, we are looking at Old Cutler Road and Kendall Drive.
Let's get right to 7 Stephen J. Gray above and 7 Skyforce with what we know so far. Stephen.
Good morning, Tavares. Good morning, Olivia. Yeah, we've got a report of up to 40 migrants in 2 separate vans here. This is Old Cutler Road northbound here near Kendall Drive.
First and foremost, can we stop calling them that word? Can we all decide at this point to call it what it is? You've co-opted our vocabulary to try and make these people feel good. Why can't I call them what they really are? Trump has already said this is what they are. He has mandated that this is the name of what these people should be called, but you can't do it here. Not yet, anyways.
We've got Coral Gables police on scene, and we're getting word that possibly 40 Chinese migrants have pretty much been pulled over in these vans. You can see through the trees here that the migrants are sitting down. Everything's pretty much under control. Everybody's being good. But once again, the 40 folks in two separate vans. Those vans must have been jam-packed right here in Coral Gables. I'm sure they're going to wait for a bigger vehicle to transport the migrants to wherever they've got to take them to. You can see this van is actually facing the wrong way on the road here, so I'm wondering if that was one of the reasons why they stood out. They also said that there is a separate scene. We're going to try to find out where that separate scene, and of course we're going to bring it to you first like we're bringing this to you on WSVN. Live from 7 Skyforce, I'm Stephen J. Gray.
So that's right here where I am. It's happening everywhere. Like I said, Coral Gables, and Beth, you probably know Coral Gables. This isn't something that happens in Coral Gables. This isn't something where you're like, oh, hey, listen, let's just go ahead and drive up the street. What in the hell were these people doing in Coral Gables? It's insane. And somebody dropped dime on them. Oh, they got a phone call. Who calls 911? Hey, listen, man, there's a van full of people here. You might want to come check them out. And the other thing I found interesting they were taken to an undisclosed location. You're reporters. What do you mean, undisclosed location? They didn't go to the Miami-Dade jail? No. They didn't go to Customs and Immigration? No. What do you mean, undisclosed location? What undisclosed location? Where? Who took them there? Y'all can be your own sleuths. You can begin putting this stuff together. I'm just bringing it to you so you can see. You can look up. Just go ahead and Google arrest of Chinese people in Coral Gables and see what comes up. Oh, speaking of Google, Google, the guys who own this place, Google decides today they are going to change their searches in the next 24 to 48 hours to no longer acknowledge the Gulf of Mexico. They're going to change Google Maps, and they're going to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. What did Trump say to Google? It hasn't filtered down to YouTube yet, but obviously some of the people in Google are like, hey, we need to change this. And in addition to that, because that's in America, well, close to America, they're changing Mount Denali back to Mount McKinley. They made a big announcement about it. Hey, we're going to be doing this stuff because Trump said so. Well, you know what's coming next when he tells you stop turning off people's videos because you don't like what they say. It's got to come. It's got to come. So, in any way, shape, or form, let's continue because I got more news for you. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has stripped General Mark Milley's security detail and his security clearance. You're on the outside looking in, bud. He also may be getting demoted. This is what you get for committing treason. So you got your pardon, but your pardon doesn't cover this other stuff, dude. We're sorry. No more security detail for you. Good luck. Hope nobody's out there looking for you. Like China. Sorry. You have no more security clearance, so you won't know if somebody's out there looking for you. Oh well, can't sell anything. Bye-bye. Now, let's go to this report. China, funny, this happens after the Coral Gables thing you just saw. Interesting. So you find two vans full of people, and China has agreed to take back its citizens living illegally in the United States after President Trump threatens to impose tariffs and sanctions on countries that refuse to accept deportees. This is at 2:41 p.m. Mere 5-6 hours after what you just saw in Coral Gables. You see, Trump caught these people. He caught them doing counterfeit stuff at the port. He caught two vans full of them and said, now I got you. Now I know what you're doing. Now I have complete basis and authority to do what I need to do. And what does China say? Bring him. Bring him. We'll stop. so many different fronts. He's coming at these people from so many different fronts. In addition to Miami, well, not Miami Beach, but Coral Gables, this happened in Florida. ICE is now raiding residential homes in Miami. I can't stress this enough. Self-deport if you are an illegal in the United States. If ICE finds you, you will have a 20 or 30-year ban on all visas. This means work, tourist, business, done. And I won't want to play the sound, but you can see they get the raid showing up in a neighborhood in Miami, bringing them out. This is happening all over the country, all over the place. What do you do if you're these people? How do you keep looking over your shoulder, wondering if today's the day, if right now is the time? So after all of this stuff has happened, Elon, with his 200 gazillion followers, he decides to poke some fun at this stuff as well, which means he and Trump have been talking. He goes, Autism Capital, which is another good profile, says, I wonder what all those things could be used for. And then you can't see it, but it says that the newest threat to southern Israel, they have moved out of the bedroom into the air as Gaza Strip, where they become the newest weapon against Israel. I can't see it because it's too big. Okay. I gotta find a way to show you this one. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can save this picture and then show it. Hold on. Let me bring this in because this might be something for you to see. This is going to be an eye-opener because I've never seen something so crazy here. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me show this. And here we go. Here we go. Those aren't balloons. And it shows you what they do. The wind propels refrigerant gas-filled condoms attached to incendiary devices into Israel after being released by a group of masked Palestinians near the Israel-Gaza border. And you can look this up yourself and search it on Getty Images. So it's a real picture. A absolute real picture. Straight up. Of these nuts using condoms to float in incendiary devices. And you were paying for it. You know, I find myself to be a creative guy. I would never, ever, ever have thought in my life that I would ever see on my 2025 bingo card condom bombs. Never. In my life. Never. Oh, I'm looking at you guys. It gives condoms a whole new meaning. Oh, well, nut jobs. Yeah, no, it wasn't AI generated. They're actually using them. US is playing both sides. You know, after the stuff I've shown you tonight, it is so out there that I don't expect you to. Barry's kidding. There's no freaking way. Go look it up. Go do your research. See what's happening. Something. I gotta put that out. Where'd that go? Somebody put Barry Kelly on these nuts. Oh my goodness. Oh, can you believe? Man, you know what? What if some of them drones that people thought they were seeing weren't drones? Wait a second. What if some of the stuff that people were seeing, it looks big enough, you could tie a couple lights to it? I don't know. I'm just saying. So next time you're in your backyard and you see something floating around, you might think it's a drone. It might be one just big, giant group of blowed up condoms carrying something. Never in my wildest imagination would I have ever written down. There's no way Robin would have said to me, "Hey, listen, you got flying condoms on your 2025 bingo card?" You didn't have that one. You lose. This is a sick society. You have to realize at some point, God's gonna say, "I've had enough. You blow the trumpet. This is crazy." If I didn't see it myself, I couldn't show it to you. And if I couldn't show it to you, you wouldn't believe me. You probably see it and still don't believe me. You're probably saying to yourself, "No way, no way in hell. This just can't be real. We can't be sending all of our money to these other countries so we could fund certain stuff. It can't be real. It just can't. It just couldn't have happened for 4 years. This guy let all this shit happen. He and Kamala. And just taking your money, shipping it to these so they could have condom bombs. So what did I say? Where was I? I was on Elon's post. So let me go back to it because he's just, at this point, just like the rest of us, we're all just shaking our heads, going, "This stuff can't be real. This government, these Democrats just didn't do all this stuff." You know what I mean? Where was his tweet? Yeah, it was here. Yeah. Explains why other orders from Magnum. There's no way. I mean, it comes to a point where we all do just have to laugh. Otherwise, I could sign off and we can all go cry, because it's absolutely beyond comprehension that this stuff is happening. Pray. You know they're not going to take it. If you watch the beginning and you see them screaming on television right now and everything that's going on, Trump hit the heart. He hit the heart of this dragon. He took it down. He took down the Democrats, and they're calling in all markers. Letitia James, Zelensky, Senator Schumer, Chris Murray. Oh my goodness. So because of all this, you can expect that tomorrow's hearings and Thursdays are going to be complete nuttery. They have no choice. They are so far backed up against the wall right now that they've been found out. And hopefully there's some Democrat voters out there who are seeing some of this stuff over the last few hours, and you can share this with some people. And there's people with some cognitive balance who aren't complete nuts, who are just going to say, "What the hell have you people been doing?" And media, why have you not been disclosing this? It's everywhere. All these NGOs getting hundreds of millions of dollars of your money, and the entirety of the media, including Fox for a good part of it, just looked the other way. Didn't care. Still don't care. Let that sink in. The media that people tune into on these stations actively, with complete forethought of malice, lie to people every single time they're in front of a camera. Which is why they lose to guys like me and George and other people, is because all they do is lie. They don't even try to show you this stuff. Not that you would have believed it. Like, well, so were the condoms used? I don't want to go there. No, sorry. That would be even worse. Sorry I even said that. Oh my God. Oh Father, please help me. All right, so we're going to get ready tomorrow. We've got the hearing with RFK Jr. Let's clear my mind of the whole condom thing, because it's just too much. So we'll start looking at giving away some hoodies, because it's too scary to think about. Was the Diddy South included? Oh my goodness. How can Dems approve this waste of our money? Did Republicans know of this? I think there's a lot of people in Washington who knew about this. I didn't. You didn't probably. And now you're hearing about this. Some of you are going to log off after this. And you're going to... Neo says, don't go there. I won't go there, but whether they were used or not. But some of you guys are going to sit back and go, I can't believe what I just heard. I cannot believe what has been happening while we're paying higher gas prices, higher food prices, higher interest rates, higher mortgage payments, higher rent payments, and you're sending $65 million of prophylactics to other countries. You told the people in North Carolina, here's $700 and shut up. We didn't have a government. You understand this right now. We had a adversarial force in charge. That's why they're afraid of, you're going to go after your opponents. You damn right. You weren't opponents. You were an adversarial force in government. You were looking to take America apart. There's no way you could. I don't care who you are, what kind of credentials you have, what kind of letters after your name. Tell me how it made any sense for you to spend $65 million on prophylactics for those people. We'll get to Zelensky. Because you can kind of say, we're trying to help him out so he didn't lose. Tell me what the benefit of that was. I'll wait. There's no way. There's no way. I have more faith in humanity to think that there are enough Democrats out there who are like, oh, hell no. I go to work every single day. You take 40, 30, 50, 60, whatever the number is, out of my paycheck every 2 weeks. You do this to me? You made everything more expensive. You made me, try to tell me that boys can play women's sport. You did all this stuff. And then on top of all that, you brought all these people in the country. Used our money to do what you needed to do. You took my kid's basketball court. You took my kid's park and put these people in. And now you're telling me on top of all that, you sent $65 million to them of prophylactics? I even want to call in the CEO of the companies. Did you know when you had your warehouse and someone sent you, an order, and you're like, yeah, can you supply us with some of these things? Yeah, sure. We got the inventory. What do you need? I need $65 million worth. That's a whole lot of, what? What? How much do you need? I need $65 million of your stuff. And that CEO of whatever companies there were didn't say, who the hell needs $65 million of prophylactics? There's not enough dudes out here. Is there something happening in our country that I don't know about? Maybe that's why these chicks are on OnlyFans and trying to do 1,000 people in a night. I don't know. That would only, last us, but still, you're telling me that the CEOs of these companies had to be complicit. There's no way your salesman goes, yeah, so, I need 65 million worth. And while you're at it, go ahead and give yourself a tip as well. Pun intended. Enough. All right, we're getting out of there. I'm getting out of that headspace because it's too flippin' scary. I'm embarrassed to be an American and having been have a government that did that. They all need to be voted out forever. Not just this time, but forever. That's why, and I've been saying it for quite some time, these people cannot win another election anytime soon. Can't happen. Can't happen. You can't let it happen. I can't let it happen. because this is what they're doing. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Hold on, I gotta change my entries. Wait 1 second here. Hold on. I may not be able to give them away because it's telling me that I have given away too many. I may have to start over again. Hold on. Let me. Oh, I did save. That's why. All right. So save and go back to the page and go back to here. Okay, we're good. All right. So let's go ahead and forget all this craziness that we were talking about. It's just not worth it to us. We don't need to hear this craziness right now. We're all getting ready to go to bed and go to dinner and everything else, and don't want to deal with it. Where we could be. All right, so we're going to give away 3 hoodies, and then I'm going to hold on, tell you about what's going on tomorrow. All right, drum roll. And the first winner tonight is Vicky Rude. Vicky Rude, you have won a free hoodie. Wear it well. And let's go with number 2. Let's go ahead and roll the drum roll. And pick another one. Jennifer Caratini. Jennifer Caratini, you have won a new hoodie. And before we start, let me go ahead and roll this one. And wow, 3 ladies tonight. Pamela K. Mills Smith. Pamela K. Mills Smith. So congratulations, ladies. Thank you for playing. Thank you. You have won brand new hoodies right off the press. I want to remind you to go to our X group, fanfareshop.org/group 13,000. By the time we meet tomorrow morning to talk about RFK Jr., that should be at 14,000. All right, so in addition to that, if you'd like to win a hoodie, go ahead and enter your name at fanfareshop.org. So as you just saw, there's no charge. There's nothing. You don't have to pay an entry fee. You don't got to buy anything. Just go there, sign up, and definitely take a shot at going to our X group, because you're going to see a whole bunch of different content in there, and it's pretty cool. We got some really, really cool people in there that I think you will indeed like to hear from. Many of them are the same people you're interacting with right now in this group. Let me go ahead. What do I got here? I want to give the guys at Rumble a shout out because they've been so good to me. So before I do super chats, let me talk. This sponsorship is from Rumble, one that is incredibly important to the survival of the company and pretty much important to me. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. They certainly did. And Facebook admitted they felt a pressure from the Biden and Harris administration. Rumble did not. They held the line. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They are attacked in corporate media. They are attacked by governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove free speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. They don't get much of it. Watching my show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you, but if you really believe in this fight, and if you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join a community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering a $10 off with the promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use promo code STUDIO. Like I said, if you have the means, if you can afford it, and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, well, we're happy just for you to watch our videos here on Rumble. And that's absolutely true. they're doing so much to help me spread my platform, to get my content out there, so that, you know, certain things I can't say here, I can say there. But thank you guys, thank you to the guys at Rumble. So let me close by, before I close, okay, tomorrow is the RFK hearing, the RFK Jr. hearing. So the RFK Jr. hearing, I believe, starts at 9:30. Let me just confirm what time this thing starts. It starts at 9:30, so I'm going to go live at 9. I will go live at 9 a.m. Let's see what time this hearing is. Hearing to consider. Let me just make sure, confirm that it's a 1 second. Well, anyway, I'll do the research off screen here, and then I'll post it in the X group. So it's either 9 or 9:30, but either way, I will go ahead and post it. So you guys can meet me here, bring your lunch, eat your breakfast, do what you got to do. We're going to be here. I mean, the longest one thus far has been Pam Bondi. Hers was 6 hours. Pete Hegseth was 5 hours. So I would expect to be here, if you're going to join me to watch RFK Jr., we're going to be here for probably 5 or 6 hours. So pack a lunch, get your lunch, join me. I would love to have you here. Let me go here. Born on the 4th. I'm curious to know what the kickbacks were for every purchase order rendered. Can't make this stuff. Yeah, that's one big ass order. You get buy 4 get 1 free. I don't know. Please look up Georgetown First Diversity Staffing. He trafficked people at the Dole Corporation. He buys Springfield homes and puts 15 to 20 of them in them. Wow. Demon of Cybertron. I think RFK Jr.'s sister is scared of becoming Pink Mist. That's why she's against him. She's not his sister. She would be his cousin. She's JFK's daughter. So she's RFK's, would be her uncle. Yeah, they're cousins. Caroline. But you're still probably right in regards to that. Sewer Bean, when Trump raised his hand and said, fight, 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 he knew all of this. Thank God for President Trump putting his life on the line for us. And he really is. These people are crazy. RFK hearing is going to be all about 5-minute bloviating speeches from the Dems. Very few actual questions because his voice is like fingernails on a chalkboard to them. Yeah, you know, the optics probably won't look good for them. You're absolutely right. So, but they have to go after him. Robert Husbands, Spare, I would never have known if it weren't for your show. I'm trying my best to give you as much information as possible that they allow me to say. So I have to be very, very careful. And even though these things are, it's actual news. Donald Trump is doing different things, and there's no lie. You can look up everything I said tonight. I still have to be very careful. So thank you for realizing that. From Brad Crane, PP Air Force. Yeah. Oh, the float. Oh my God, that's funny. That's their Air Force. Reyes, Barry, I've learned so much from watching you. I've started researching more and more. Bingo! Thank you for all you're doing for the people. God bless. I love to hear that. Things that stimulate me to go, that you begin to go look. So wait a second. This can't be true. They can't be floating these balloons out as, oh, it's true. Oh, it's true. It's going to take one big one for that kind of money. Oh, yeah, exactly. Maybe that's the super duper magnum one. Stephen Anderson says, Grand Illusion is Styx stealing from us forever. What was the other album? If Styx was Grand Illusion, now you guys, that's a gimme. That's a layup. If I tell you if I ask you who put out the Royal Scam, that's just too easy. All of you will know that. Those of you my age know the Royal Scam. Fumes rumor. Need Elon to repost his promise to fund primary campaigns against GOP senators who don't approve. Yep, I believe so. I think it's standing. Maria, $50 million to fund this stuff in Gaza. The washing machine is now broken and irreparable. Yeah, there's no way. You're insulting me at that point if you're telling me they spent $50 million on that. Either that or they're the best damn ones you'd ever find on the market. Joy Kirkland, I see a blanket party coming for those Transformers who want to fight this. Those in the military or prior know what I'm talking about. Don't ask who gave the code red. Don't, dude. If you want me on that wall, you need me on that wall. You guys know where that's from, don't you? Absolutely. Let me see what okay, somebody did the count. That's 5,416,666. Of course, boxes. Almost 5.5 million boxes. That's a lot of chicka boom boom. I mean, whew, wow. That is absolutely stunningly insulting to every single American. And nobody answers for it. David Pfizer, hi Barry, did Vivek really quit Doge? If so, why? Yes, he may be doing some things behind the scene, but from what all indications are, and I just talked to a congressman from Ohio yesterday, he will be running for the governorship of Ohio. Barry, please clarify the $10 million given to J6ers by Elon. J6er said it wasn't true. I don't blame you. How do I find the truth? Somebody else had posted me and said that was from a bad account, so I'm looking at it too to see if that was true. So I will let you know tomorrow morning whether or not I found any verification of that. Ernest Walker, I just applied for the White House press pass. We'll see. Congratulations, brother. I'm doing mine tonight. Joy Kirkland, I love it. Look at what they did to Trump for years. He had to use his own money. They don't want to start using theirs to fight this. Brilliant. Yep. They're losing it. This is something that they can't even fathom that this money's going to get cut off. Stephen Morse, thank you very much. Could someone please tell the libtards the price of eggs are high because the deep state started the bird flu? Shh. You're not supposed to notice that. And you're not supposed to notice that, trucks that need diesel are carrying the eggs. Because that's... And why is it all about eggs? Becky Etchison, thank you. Dems love their produce. First avocado, and now eggs. Absolutely. Jax, if they all take the buyouts, he can hire me. Besides hiring you. If all this DEI, if the newcomers aren't here anymore, and like, who's going to do this stuff? Well, there's a lot of people on welfare. There's a lot of people who need jobs. Maybe you might want, but then again, as Stephen Miller said, less than 1% are doing anything in agriculture. So basically what they're saying is something that's not true. If only 1% of them are doing agriculture, that's not a whole lot. Hey Chucky, and Tommy says, hey Chucky and AOC, I don't give a. Yep, GFY. Yep, that's pretty much what it is right now. Scream bloody murder all you want. We now know what you were doing. Mega Mama, I just want to say thank you all. I received my hoodie. Great. And your Bible. A nice thank you card as well. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching. And I love it. Honestly, don't know what I would do without this fanfare family. Thank you, Mega Mama. I hope you enjoy. My favorite is Matthew 6:25-34. Take a look at that. Anytime you're feeling down, anytime you think, these things aren't going to make it, Matthew 6:25-34. Michael Ney sent you a super chat in the morning show too. If I missed it, Michael, sorry. Thank you very, very, very much. Especially for the double. Ernest McAllister, thank you. Jeff 26, boy, that means I probably won't have to be paying for my Medicare Part B anymore. Saves me money out of pocket. at least you shouldn't have to pay for anything else if you know what I mean, like prophylactic wise. They're giving them away. It's funny how, never mind, I'm done. Don't talk about that no more. Don't talk about that no more. I keep telling myself. Antoinette Alvarado, thank you very much. Barb Johnson, Barry, I'm definitely interested in a Boca Bash. Can I bring a friend? Sure, more the merrier. We're going to plan that this weekend. Crew, 3540 crew, your thoughts on good stewards of American money. That's exactly what she said, and she said it in that clip I played. We want to be good stewards of money. Went over a bunch of their heads. Let's see here. Did I read these all right? Make sure. Republicans will have to be in office for the next 20 years to clean this monstrosity. You're right, Carmen, because it's bad. Neo, thank you, Barry. Fanfare team mods, you're awesome with this winning content, but no more flying prophylactics, please. Pray for POTUS and the team. Yes, I hear you, brother. Intrigue Tech, have you heard about cute winter boots? Yes, I've heard about that too. Funny, you think you're being secret, but everybody knows the secret. That's crazy. Cute winter boots. Tommy, yes, it was Steely Dan, Donald Fagen, and Walter Becker. Yep, exactly. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning into the second show. So we're going to get things started at about 9ish tomorrow. I'll post the notification so you see it, but it's going to be a big day. Hope you guys can all make it. Hope you guys can get ready for a theatrical presentation of the Democrats against RFK Jr. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Have a safe night.